Hi, host Eric here, and I'm the host of Talking to Famous People. I don't have a lot of time to make this video, but I wanted to talk briefly about different ways to type and test people because Neff asked me a question about why I don't just ask behavioral questions straight up like the MBTI test. Well, there's a couple of reasons for that. First, I was interested and have been interested in a while in coming up with a test that where the test, no matter how smart and intuitive the test taker is, they're not going to be able to deduce what's going on in that test. I don't like MBTI tests because I don't like any of the tests I encounter because none of them work on me in any meaningful sense. I need tests that accounts for my ability to meta out of it, in order for it to be meaningful. I want to be able to inform people of stuff that they displayed unconsciously, even if they're trying to game the test. So that's the number one thing. And my approach to that has been kind of half-assed and intermittent, but I've got a lot of ideas about how I would like to construct a test such that it would be administrable via checkboxes or something like that, and still produce meaningful results that no matter how many times somebody took the test or variance of the test, we'd have to have variance obviously, but no matter how many times people went down that, it would become overly complex for them to interpret right away. Like, and okay, so what are the things you got to include in a test like that? Well, you got to have a lot of red herrings, stuff that doesn't mean anything. It's just there to misdirect them into thinking it means something. And ideally, you have stuff that reflects values, stuff that reflects problem solving approaches, stuff that reflects response to conflict, stuff that explains what is considered payoff, where they get their payoff. Um, I'd like to, I would want to like try to identify FI not by identifying it directly, but by sort of saying like, okay, well, here's a really weird way in which this thing correlates with this apparently unrelated thing, and it's pretty consistent. And I've got a set of those things, and I'd like to see, you know, something that would appear to be part of TE is actually an FI thing. That and then I have a bunch of those things and see the frequency with which they hit them. And then of course you got to factor in the ratio thing too. I think that would be a factor as well in the test giving. If you want to have an ideal test that would be meaningfully, it would basically say um, frequency. It would look for it would allow you to choose between dichotomies that reflected the different cognitive functions and somehow be able to say, produce this is your likely cognitive stack order, regardless of whether that correlates with a existing type, and to then find out, to hone the test such that you get it as close as possible, so that it produces mostly results that are actual types and not out of order types. So to do that, because look, if you could do that, if you can get a test that does that consistently without telling it to do it, without explicitly instructing it to do this, get a test that shows, oh yeah, when people take the full test, we end up with results that consistently show people that do prioritize these things and about this ratio, and that the way that they react to the shadow function ones is like this, according to this slot in the stack and stuff like that. And that would be a really good, nice test, and it would be a validation of the model as well. Um, it wouldn't just be useful for the test taker; it would be useful for the test giver as well. So that's my thinking on that. Lastly, the other reason why I do stuff like the testing, like the Mystery Island stuff, is people like it. It's fun. People like taking that. People like participating in it. Some people do, not everybody. INTPs like it. So anyway, have a good day. I gotta go back to work.